Welcome to Pastor Aggressive Podcast. Real life, real faith, real talk. So we are going to get very real today.
I'll fly away. Oh,
there's a couple of things
glory.
I took several notes. You're really loud, but I think that's a good thing. I like when you're loud, Zach. I'm taking my keys out of my pocket and trying to get to my wallet because
This is the same guy that got mad at me for clicking my Zins, and now he's like flipping through everything in his pockets.
I know
right now.
I am. I'm making so much noise because I need to get to my notes.
He just pulled a whole drum set out of his pocket.
Okay,
we have no camera today.
I can't see because it's so dark down here because we have no camera and we decided to have
Oh yeah, we tried to do the lighting thing.
special
and
lighting
then we
even
did
though
no
it's
camera. Yeah.
no camera. Okay, so first of all,
We're not gonna talk about our weeks, bro.
I want to get right into my week.
Oh my bad.
Oh, buddy, I've had a lot.
You got your week written down
I've
on
had
notes.
quite a week.
Okay.
Well, I think it's important we talk about we talk about Halloween being pagan, but we have together as roommates been watching some horror movies lately.
Hey, but those are pretty biblically accurate, bro.
We've been watching the Warren verse movies, the Ed and
That's a
Lorraine
good way to
Warren
put it.
movies.
Yeah. La Llorona doesn't really count, but we threw that in there.
So La Llorona was the one that I was like, I don't really. It's not my favorite one, but I was thinking about I remember I kept calling her the wet ghost.
Yeah.
Because why is that one so water based? Of all of the movies,
Water's scary.
I know, but
Talk about water in the scriptures, though, for
Yeah,
real.
water's
The sea is
scary,
always
dog.
talked
Yeah.
about like hell almost.
he did cast those demons into the pigs, and then the pigs ran into the waters.
Yeah.
and then they probably became La Llorona.
Yeah, and yeah. I can't think of a pig joke for that.
La Llorona's she's not a poltergeist; she's a moisture geist.
Bro, that just sounds nasty. Yeah, the guy literally put holy water or turned the pool into holy water, bro. Casted a demon out of the pool.
That's that is true. That is true. That he cast the demons into the in La Llorona he turned the whole pool into holy water.
Yeah, but
Which
we don't
was kind of a rip off of the Nun too when they turned the whole winery into Jesus' blood.
Why don't we see that in movies? Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
Yeah.
That movie?
Yeah.
Where he casts the demon out into a pig and then shoots it in the head with a shotgun?
I've not seen that one. What what Temu Exorcist did you
it was on Netflix. It was legit, bro. He casted a demon out of this pig and then it didn't show it, but you just hear boom and then a pig squeal. It was biblically accurate, bro. Jesus didn't have a shotgun.
Yeah, I don't remember. He just cast him into the ocean.
Maybe the American Jesus did. A shotgun and a Coors Light.
I've had a crazy week. I've had a really crazy week, and I don't even know where to begin. Because first of all, I went to go see my uncle in the hospital. He's not doing well. Keep praying for him.
Your uncle?
He's struggling. Yeah. He had surgery. He had surgery, and I went to go see him. And
Chad?
No. Chad's my friend who was in the hospital, and I went to see him at St. Vincent. But this is this is important to the story. So St. Vincent, I just told him I was clergy, and they give me all the information of where I need to go. Mm-hmm. No problem. It's not a bad deal. But my uncle was it used to be called Methodist, but now it's an IU hospital. Okay.
Okay.
And as you know, IU hospitals it's not like a Christian hospital, like St. Vincent or St. Francis or like the Catholic hospitals or even a Methodist hospital. IU hospitals are pagan hospitals.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And the pagan hospitals, they don't let me just clergy my way in. I had to go through all these hoops. And my uncle, I'm not going to say his name, but
you should have told him you knew like crystals and astrology.
But my uncle's, I studied liberal arts. My uncle is he has a nickname for a name, and I've always called him by that nickname. I didn't know what it's short for. So because I didn't know what his actual legal document name was, then all of a sudden they're locking me out of the information. Wouldn't tell me what room he was in. Then he wanted his birth date. Do you know your uncle's exact birth date?
No.
I didn't think so. So
did you say this
when
to
the
them?
clergy didn't work? Yes. And then this neoliberal Luciferian secularist hospital wouldn't let me have any information about where my uncle was staying. And you know what? And they still have the gall to say IU Methodist. I'll be honest, selling to the IU hospital, this might be the worst thing the Methodist Church has ever done.
Okay. Debatable. Debatable. Did you get to see him?
I did. he's kind of out of it. So I mean, he doesn't know that I was there. But I did get to see him. I talked to his nurse, and she had some hopeful things to say, but it was kind of it was rough. It was hard to see. But it was amplified by the fact that it was so frustrating to get in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like,
that's the devil, bro.
I understand the security and all that, but I'm not. I was being, obviously I'm joking around about the secular hospital thing or the pagan hospital, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there is something very real about the Catholic and Christian hospitals. When I say I'm clergy, they're willing to work with me, whereas the ones that are just like, a community or like college based, they just don't. I don't know what that's about. I'm sure it's because,
I mean, bro, there's literally a Unitarian Universalist church right outside of IU, bro. I mean, like, come on, lock in.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
Do they have a chapel there? Do you know?
Yeah, they did, and they have a chaplain also. I saw him.
He was a agnostic chaplain, a psychiatrist or whatever.
Yeah. No, what do you call an atheist chaplain? A psychologist. that's
Jordan Peterson.
What do you mean by chaplain? What do you mean by atheist? Anyway, man, we love
you, Jordan. Yeah. We do love Jordan.
We're off the rails. On top of all of that, obviously last week we talked about my internet beef which shouldn't have even been a beef.
With the third crusader.
Yeah, the toxic masculinity crusader. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. That was no.
It's like a toxic Avenger joke. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Laugh track.
You need to hit the laugh track there. That there was that thing that we talked about last week, and that's been a couple weeks now. Then this week I got a letter in the mail at the church, anonymous, with no I should have brought the letter with me, with no return address, and where the return address should be was like a printed label that said a concerned Christian and pastor. This letter was typed, not handwritten, so really trying.
Wait, what if it's Matt?
Our Matt?
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, I just read the foreword to your book, and he lists like what he is, and then he goes, most importantly, I'm a Christian.
Nah, dude, that's not Matt. If it was Matt, that's the best troll I've ever seen, and kudos to him. That actually is a very funny Matt joke if it was Matt, but I don't think so. This was the most vague letter, so vague in fact that I text all my pastor, like a lot of my pastor friends locally, and was like, hey, did you guys get a mysterious unaddressed letter?
Nobody else got one?
Not one, not a single person.
Oh.
And I said, well, I guess I'm just special. But the letter was not threatening or anything. It was just very like, on one hand, the person was saying that we need to be careful who we surround ourselves with.
True. And
we shouldn't be hanging out with worldly people. And
true.
Even if it's to witness, which I somewhat disagree. I think, but that has been in the discussion from this whole Facebook mess too. That was part of the discussion was, oh, you went and witnessed to people in bars, you heathen.
Which you don't even really do.
Which I don't really do anymore, but yeah.
By the way, I just want to throw this in there real quick. My friend Avery plays music at bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he does stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a totally noble cause to do. I did it for a long time, and I think it's something that you can easily do and not fall into a mess. But regardless of that, that was part of the letter. But then it also takes this shift where it's like, we need to stand boldly, and we can't say we're not political, which that seemed kind of directed at me because I am kind of not political really. So it was like kind of directed at me that way. And then it's like, we need to be bold and we need to be brave and courageous. And then it was like, and also I'm not going to tell you who I am. I'm just going to sign as just random pastor. And I'm like, okay, buddy. Or butt-ass. I'm not sure.
Clown bleep that.
I'm not going to bleep it. I'm not even going to bleep it. But here's the thing about all this is that's not even the end of the craziness of like random encounters I've had.
Uh-huh.
The other two were like, I posted something online, guy sees it, posts in response, and then kind of drags people down this crazy rabbit hole. The letter thing seemed a little bit pointed. I don't know if it's directed at me, but again, I didn't necessarily ask for it, but okay, yes, I have a pretty non-political stance, and it's pretty public that I like try to be like, I'm going to preach Jesus, not anything political. And so I could see how maybe that drew the ire of whoever wanted to write this letter. But the third thing that happened to me this week in this odd, very weird, almost attack kind of thing is I was wearing the shirt that you got me for Christmas, or I can't remember.
I think I just got it.
Yeah. But you got me this really cool shirt that has God's name in Hebrew, and then under it says Yahweh, which is the English translation, the actual English translation.
Boy, he would have had a meltdown if he wore the hat I got you.
Oh, if I would have wore the hat too. But I was wearing my Saved by Grace hat. So equally, if I would have... Oh, Lord help me if I would have wore my Jesus Saves hat. Dude would have just had a meltdown right there in the Menards. But anyway, I'm in Menards getting supplies for this remodel we're doing, which I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to talk about the remodel on the podcast.
You're so negative.
I love the remodel. I love it. It's the best remodel.
The Mexicans paid for it.
We're remodeling the bathroom, and we're going to make Zach pay for it. But anyway, this guy, I go to Menards to get all this, get the tub swapped out. And this guy sees my shirt and he's staring at me weird. And I thought, I used to go to Menards a lot when I was in the restoration business. I'm like, maybe this guy knows me. I don't know. But he's shopping with his little kid and he has a DHL delivery uniform on. That's not important to the story. I just thought I'd drop that out there. He's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And I'm thinking, oh, okay. He wants prayer or, something like that. Or maybe he just wants to talk about Jesus. Cool. I'm like, yeah, man, no problem. He pulls me off to like this side aisle. And he's like, do you know what your shirt means? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I see you have the English translation there. And you say, and it says, and this is exactly how it goes. And it says, Yahweh, sorry, Father. And I'm like, wait a second. What's happening here? And then he goes on this tirade. I don't know if you're familiar with the sacred name movement.
Kind of.
But basically,
they're kind of like tied with Black Hebrew Israelites a little bit.
A little bit, but it's a lot of white people doing a lot of honkies out there doing the
honk honk.
But it is tied to Torah observant a little bit, like Christians who believe they have to be Torah observant, but also they think that Jesus is not. That it's a false name, and they take very literally the scripture that says there's only one name by which we can be saved.
I think what you just said, though, is not the real name. People out here say Jesus, and it's Jesus.
Jesus. Well, yes.
Not Jesus.
But
that's my Jesus.
But that's a pronunciation thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and I've talked about this, I think, before on the podcast. I know I've said this a million times, but people say that they changed his name. But they didn't. There's this thing called transliteration, okay?
Yeah.
Where we take the meaning of a word and create that meaning in our own language, okay? Yeah. And so Jesus is the English pronunciation of the Greek word iousis, which is the Greek version of the Almighty God saves or Yahweh saves, right?
Uh-huh.
Because that's what Jesus' name means. The Hebrew is actually Yeshua. That's where Joshua comes from. And so when Joshua, who's Moses' like next in line of leadership of the Israelite people, his name is the same as Jesus. Like it's Yeshua, which is Yahweh saves, or salvation belongs to the Lord, or something like that, right? So the sacred name movement believes that all of that stuff is inaccurate and it's wrong and it's changed. And if we pronounce it wrong, then somehow God is not powerful enough to recognize that. And we've been deceived and we're going to hell for it.
What I would say to that is, I can't remember, maybe it was last week, not today, at church. I think we sung, or maybe I was just listening to it. You know that song, There's Power in the Name?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that and I was like, power in the name. Is there really power in the name, or is there just power in Jesus? Like when we say when we close a prayer and we're like, we pray in the name of Jesus.
Yes.
Sure, but it's actually the person of Jesus that we're praying in.
Right.
Not the name. So the name doesn't matter. Jesus, Cristo Jesus, Jesus Christ. It's like, are we about to have Spanish-speaking people saying Yeshua or whatever? Yeshua?
Right. It's not. It doesn't make sense. And the other thing is, people call me, like it happened today. People call me Warren all the time.
Yeah.
I don't correct them.
Yeah.
I know what they mean.
Isaac.
Yeah. Or it's not that big of a deal to me. It's like
because they're talking about you.
Right, they're talking to me. It's not about yes. And so the whole thing with Jesus is it's about his title and his position. When it says the name above all names, when it says that there's only one name by which you're saved, it's about the position. There is only one person who we're saved by, and it's the Son of God, the Son of Man,
the person,
the perfect Lamb of God.
Yeah.
And so whatever you call him, now what I'm not saying is
call him Baal.
What I'm not saying is Allah is the same as you know what I mean. Like that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that when we're talking about transliteration, we can't take it that literally. And the problem with this is that then they get people confused. And they get people really, like young believers would be just stumped by this and like, I don't know what to do with this. And then then they're like, I need to ask somebody because I'm really confused. Thankfully, I'm not boasting on myself, but I'm strong in my faith because I've been in it a long time. I know what I believe. I'm not like it didn't shake me that this guy said this stuff. Yeah. But also, like I said before, I think I talked about this maybe last week. I am fervently in prayer about like God correct the things that I'm wrong about in my theology and in my doctrine. Always about that. Yeah. And I've prayed that prayer before, not recently, but I prayed that prayer like God, if I am saying the name wrong, if I'm calling on the wrong name, then correct me.
Yeah.
But shortly after I said that prayer is when I was, working with the Restoration Place. I had this conversation with a roofer named George, and George is not his name.
Jorge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Venezuela. His name is not George.
Yeah.
But that's how he knows to tell people who speak English what his name is.
Because he's still Jorge or George.
And if I called him and I said, "Hey George, can you do this job for me?" He wouldn't be like, "Well, you don't really know me because you don't know my name."
Right.
That's crazy to think that. And so that was really revealing to me because I was like at a time in my life where I was like, I don't know, this stuff is kind of wild. And then so that kind of stuff really comforts me and shows me like so he went on this whole tirade. This guy went on this whole tirade about how the Lord, capital Lord, they put that in there, and that actually means, I can't even remember what he said it means, but he said it was satanic and all this weird stuff. And I was thinking, so I even I tried to correct him in love, and I was like, so what do you call Almighty? Because he also said God. He said God is a satanic thing. And I was like, I don't know. This guy, he had gone farther in the paint than anyone I've ever heard.
So when Jesus says ye are gods.
Yeah. So I don't know what his problem was. He was way, way off track, really crazy. And he's
been kicked out of 22 churches.
I will say this. He was very kind. He was like, I'm not saying this because I want, I want to be hateful to you. He's like, I'm just trying to teach you and help you because I needed to be taught. And I'm like, okay, well. But then I asked him. So a couple things I asked him. I said,
who was this guy taught by? An angel in a cave?
So I said, by some golden plates and a hat. So I said to him, I said, so what do you call the Almighty? And he said, well, I call him Father, or
why don't you call him Abba?
And I said, how do you feel about the word Adonai? And he said, well, Adonai's fine. But do you realize Adonai is the word that they used to replace Yahweh because they didn't want to say his word in the scriptures? And then when it got translated into Greek, they translated Adonai as capital Lord. So all of the stuff he was saying, it wasn't even consistent in his own thinking.
It was just what he thought was appropriate.
And so then he said, well, yeah, Adonai's fine because Adonai means father. And I said, well, actually, Adonai doesn't mean father Abba means father. He's like, well, yeah, Abba would be my preferred.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then I said, so what do you do with because he said scripture's all changed. Mm-hmm. This is a classic argument. People say this all the time. And I said, so what do you do with the New Testament? And he said, well, we've just got to go back to the original Hebrew, man. We've got to go back to the original Hebrew. And I said, okay, well, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all here, but I went to school for this kind of stuff, and I said, we don't have original Hebrew of New Testament because the manuscripts were written in Greek.
Right.
And I said, so what we translate is the Greek. And he was like, well, he's like, yeah, but I mean, he's like, he's like, honestly, I don't think Paul really was speaking the truth of the gospel. And I was like, okay, but even if you want to ignore Paul, which I would not, right. But I said, but if you want to, what do you do with Peter? John Mark, who was a disciple of Peter, John Mark and Peter both saw the resurrected Christ. Mm-hmm. What do you do with that information? And he's like, well, yeah. He's like, I'm still learning a lot. And I'm like, okay. But then I was like, so.
But you're teaching me.
And so then this is where I told him, I said, so I would assume, and I said, I'm not trying to be rude, but I would assume that you don't go to a church then if you believe all religion is corrupt. And he said, well, I've tried going to churches, but as soon as they start saying Lord or Jesus, I stand up and I correct them. And he said, I've been kicked out of about 20 churches. I'm like, to quote Taylor Swift, I'm the problem, it's me. If you're kicked out of 20 churches, bud, maybe church isn't the problem.
Hopefully bro's not feeling like 22.
So, I don't know. It was just such a weird encounter because all I was doing was wearing a shirt and going to Menards. I did nothing to provoke this attack is probably the wrong word, but this conversation or what so I don't know what it is about me that is magnetizing these literal crazy people.
You know what this guy makes me, I don't want to stay on this too long, but this guy makes me think of that movie. It's a Christmas movie that came out recently. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about this kid who's like writing to Santa, but he's dyslexic, and he accidentally writes "Dear Satan," and then Satan shows up. It's like, I don't think God's working like that. You know what I mean? I think God knows the intention of our heart, and we know Jesus as the person of the Gospels, as like a divine figure through all humanity, all creation.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It matters what I call him to an extent. Jesus, Jesus, whatever. Earlier, yesterday, I think we were talking about Apostolic Succession, and we mentioned a lady's name earlier, and we were talking about her in that yesterday, and it just made me think of like this like funny phrase. Instead of Apostolic Succession, she's like more of like Apostate Succession.
That's a fire joke. Really, really rough, but yeah, I like it. I like.
Sorry,
where it's going.
I had to write that down.
No, I like where it's going.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it.
So that this is all of this ties into what we want to talk about today. We talked about it last week, hinted at it, and I think it's a good thing to talk about. So at what point, the Bible talks about.
My week was great, guys.
I want to know about your week. I've been here. I've watched your week, but yeah, please tell the listeners about your week. No, I did that. I did this to you last. I want to hear it.
He's been doing this to me for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah,
I hope you guys notice.
Yeah,
my week was fine, man. It's just super busy. I'm just giving you a hard time. Nothing important.
You don't have anything you want to talk about your week? Because I feel like you do.
I don't know. I talked about it in our recovery meeting tonight. I talked about how I've been really dissatisfied with my life. I got evicted and I'm making way less money, and I'm living in my friend's basement now, which is cool. It's a blessing, and I really appreciate it. I hope like when I'm down on all this, like I'm not unappreciative of the blessing you guys have given me, but it just sucks, man. I felt like I was on top of the mountain. I was like ready to go be a missionary, and I had all the funds, and I was successful on my own, and I was making all these big moves, and then I don't know. I felt like God was just telling me that I didn't need all that. And now that I don't have it, I've been real down. And, I hate my job, hate my life. I dread going to work every day. And I had a breakthrough today during your sermon. I don't have my notes on me. I wrote it down in my Bible. But it's, I've been struggling with a lot of doubt, man. A lot of doubt in, like, did God, like just doubt period. Did God call me away from that job? Did I make a mistake leaving that job? Did I make a mistake getting evicted, or was that really God's plan? Am I just saying things are God's plan to feel comfortable with it? And Wade reminded me tonight, even like what he was saying was like speaking, I'm sure to other people, but directly to me.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, you're getting in the way. I'm going to paraphrase. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he was like, you're getting, how did he phrase it? Do you remember? It was the thing he kept hitting on. He was like, he's essentially saying like, you being like frustrated and caught up with what's going on now is preventing you from
seeing what
want.
God's doing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What the dream, he was talking about Joseph, and like Joseph has this dream, and then there's all these things that happen between when he has the dream from God and when the dream comes to fruition.
13 years. He said.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of crap that happens in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
And he's saying like, we can't let that stuff that happens in the middle deter us from the dream.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know. I bet Joseph got down sometimes. We don't hear about it. But sitting in that prison cell for 13 years, I bet he wasn't just, well, I know that dream's coming sometimes.
And like, did he know that he was going to end up being like high authority, like under the Pharaoh? Like,
no, I don't think so.
So that's like, for me though, is like, I have no idea where God's leading me. And I've been feeling a lot of doubt about that. Like God, what are you doing? Like, I don't know if I really am called to be a missionary to Honduras. And that's what I've been, like, questioning for 2 years since we went to Honduras. And it's like, I've lost my passion for ministry.
But maybe you're being called to be a plumber or a tradesman. There's things that have happened this week that could be new callings.
Yeah, but if I look
know.
at everything, yeah, that's the thing, though, is like, I don't know. And I've been real... It's easier to not know when you're comfortable. It's harder to not know when you're living in your friend's basement without a lock on your door. You know what I'm saying?
We could put a lock on that door. It would not be that hard.
I mean,
you could still see through the
through
stairway.
The hole in the stairs.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we could do something about that. But.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I've been real down about that, and I had a good breakthrough today. And I'm like, I feel motivated now to go to Monday night Bible study, to go to Wednesday Bible study. Felt motivated to come tonight. Yeah. I didn't have a lot to say, to be honest, tonight. I'm pretty sure I said something stupid that kind of derailed everything and didn't make sense. Did you catch that?
No.
Okay, so maybe it didn't make sense, but I like threw something in the middle. I just was not in it. But now I like am excited to go to work tomorrow and just like do what I'm called to do. Yeah. Even if it's less, even if it's a lower title, even if I just told the plumber that I used to tell him what to do at my last company. Just saw him at the gas station 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, he's like, what are you doing now? I'm like, I'm an apartment maintenance guy. I need to get over that.
Yeah.
I need to stop doing that.
We talked about that. The whole episode last week was kind of about that.
I'm struggling with the same things, dude. The same thing over and over again. And I recognize the problem. And I get lost in it. I get lost in all the work I'm doing because I'm super busy right now with like working and then coming here and doing work. I'm just not like decompressing enough. You know, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just going through the motions and like trying to figure it out myself. I'm on Indeed. I'm doing all these things. I'm like, I need to find the next thing. I need to find the next thing. And I realized today, no, I just need to be where I'm at. Yeah. And I need to serve God. I need to love the things I'm doing. I need to stop. Every Monday night comes around, Wednesday night comes around, I hope it gets canceled. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't be in that mind state. I can't function as a Christian if I'm letting my circumstances define how I serve God.
Yeah. That's really good.
So praise God for that, man. Honestly.
That's awesome.
That revelation. Hopefully it sticks, though, because I'm an idiot. I'll be talking about the same thing next week.
This actually all goes right into what we're saying, though. Like this, like finding out like what is our responsibility and what's our purpose.
And you corrected me on that.
How's that?
You corrected on the way there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and this is what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Is you told me like, if it's boring, just go there and like be bored for the day. Like just do it. Because I called off Friday.
Yeah, but that wasn't even like pastoral advice. That was parenting advice because I have to tell my kids all the time, when they're like, I'm bored, then just be bored. Maybe that's where you're at right now. And that's okay. We have to learn to be okay with where we are in what God's doing, because sometimes his plans don't feel fast to us.
Yeah.
And we just have to be okay with where we're at. And I'm telling you, I know from experience that sucks sometimes. It's not awesome.
Yeah, you worked at Lowe's for like 40
for
years.
14 years I worked at Lowe's. Which is also weird that I'm in a Menards. Like the very likelihood of me even being in a Menards is anyway.
You were at the ops block.
I was at the ops. But this whole thing we wanted to talk about was about like, when is it our place to correct?
Yeah.
And like, obviously that guy's theology was messed up on Saturday. But like, there's something cool about his boldness to try to want to correct me, I guess.
He believes it's the truth.
But like, was that his place to do that? And I, as a pastor, I struggle with this. This is something I really have a hard time with, because Scripture does tell us that if there are false teachers, we need to call them out, right? Mm-hmm. But we also didn't have social media and podcasts, and Paul wasn't able to hear the sermons of every person that was preaching. Yeah. When he's writing these letters, mm-hmm. and he's saying we need to correct these people. There is this problem we have of too much input. Yeah. And so I'm really struggling with, where do I need to correct pastors? I make jokes all the time. Last week even, we made jokes on the podcast about a certain church and a certain pastor, and I kind of loosely took a jab at that at least maybe not that person specifically, but their methodology and that style of church. Yeah. Today at church. Yeah. I do believe that is a false type of teaching. It's not feeding, it's soft, it's milk. There's no scriptural depth. And I think the structure is dangerous, because it's all about consumer, like, what can I get from church, not how can I be the church.
So all that may be true, but do you think the way in which you responded to it today was correct?
No, I don't think so. But also, I don't even know if it's my job to correct this guy. There's this, I went and saw Emery last weekend, one of my favorite bands, and they have this album that's 20 years old now. I got to listen to the whole album. They played the whole album at this show. And one of my favorite lines, and it like changed my life when I first heard it in like 2005. This line in one of their songs at the very end of it is, "It's not our job to make anyone believe." Mm-hmm. And so we have a duty to share the gospel. That's it. And we do have a duty to correct false teaching. But when is it my job to do that? And it's not my job to make this guy be a proper teacher, or to make him teach like me.
Well, in your understanding of the church, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you would see St. Paul as just like a pastor or like a normal guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Paul did it.
Yeah.
On Christ's authority.
Right.
So why would it be wrong for you to do it? I don't think in correcting somebody, you're forcing them to believe.
Yeah.
Jesus corrected Nicodemus.
Yeah.
Jesus corrected his disciples.
But I think where I fail is I'm not going to these people directly.
Sure.
Now, some of the most of the situations where like someone that goes to that church, or someone who has been to the church or knows people at the church because they used to go there. There's a couple of different churches I'm talking about right now where there's these pastors where I'm like, that doctrine is not good. This is a problem. They tell me about these things, or they send me these clips from these sermons or whatever, and they're like, what do you think about this? And so I guess in correcting it to them and saying, that's not right, you shouldn't listen to that, that's probably healthy. But really, if I have a problem with what's happening, I should go to these guys. But these guys don't even know me. They have no idea. Like I'm not on their radar.
If you really believed that, I mean, like Jesus, when he walks into the temple and starts flipping tables, if you really believe that these people are leading people astray, that should like spark a fire in you a little bit. But also, we don't have the same authority that Jesus had.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, so what do we do with that fire?
We do in as much as the Holy Spirit lives in us, and we have that authority, but it's
we don't have
discerning that authority.
We don't have the authority to judge or condemn,
Correct.
as Jesus did. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we have the Gospels.
Yeah.
Personally, we have the church fathers in church history.
Yeah.
So we look at that, and then we look at you, and then we say, this is out of line of church, of Christian history, Christian teaching, Christian doctrine. This is wrong, and you need to turn back to Jesus.
So you're saying I should nail my theses on their door?
Yeah. You would have like 67 theses.
That's
good. No camera.
Yeah, no camera. Yeah, your 6'7" joke didn't go where it needed to go.
Your 6'7" joke didn't go anywhere today.
Yeah, it really bombed today.
Warner made a 6'7" joke from the pulpit.
Yeah,
did the whole. You should have done the hand movement with the tambourine though.
Oh yeah, the tambourine. Yeah, when the tambourine was in play, it felt like things were really on fire.
This is making me think of the conversation we were having earlier. I think it was today, where we were talking about like all things are not profitable, or all things are okay, but all things are not profitable.
Right.
Or I think you said all things are good, but not all things are profitable.
Yeah.
So social media, for example, this kind of ties into what we're talking about. If social media is overwhelmingly bad for people, is it okay for us to correct other Christians and be like, you shouldn't be on social media?
Right.
Is that okay for us to do?
Yeah, probably. But so part of what we talked about in that is I said that, I need social media to do X, Y, or Z. I need to do these good things. Like I need to use it for good.
Yeah.
But really, what is my intent behind why I use social media?
Yeah.
It's for attention, really.
Yeah.
And that is pride, and that is sinful. So inherently, social media itself is not sinful.
It's like when people say weed is a medicine.
Right.
Most people don't smoke weed for medicinal purposes.
Right. Like, yeah. So it's like, I can justify it all I want, but really, social media is, if I boil it down to its base instinct, social media is just my pride.
Yeah. Most people's.
Yeah.
That's inherently what it does. It's a temptation.
Yeah.
And if your right hand calls you to sin, cut it off.
Yeah.
That can go for anything. But there's some things that are more prone to causing people to sin than others.
Yeah.
There's some things like porn. There's no healthy way to watch porn.
Right. Correct.
There's no healthy way to have sex outside of marriage.
Correct.
There is a healthy way to use social media, but it's very rare.
Very rare.
Very, very rare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, are we okay as seasoned Christians, not speaking for me, but speaking for you, as a seasoned Christian, is it okay to tell somebody, like, look, I've been a Christian for a while. I've seen a lot of the things that take me away from Christ, and social media is one of them. I don't think you should be on social media.
Yeah.
Is that okay to do?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. And I was really challenged today. One of the ladies in our Sunday school class said that she had been off social media for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome.
And she seemed so like chill and attentive and locked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's really good stuff. And like I said, we can make arguments all day of like, well, but that's how I connect with people. But people don't even, but I also print bulletins and put slides up and make announcements, and people miss that too. So it's like,
yeah.
If they've missed all of that, are they going to get the Facebook post that tells them about something?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No. Well, I mean, a lot of people are on Facebook a lot more than they're paying attention to the bulletins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
I just don't know. I mean, my pastor, Tim, dude, he loved Facebook. Loved it. He was always on it, but he was getting into arguments with people, and it was nasty, and it was weird, and I never thought he would. I had been talking, Tim, if you hear this, I love you, man. I'm sorry that I was doing this. I had been talking to some of my friends at the Bible study, and we were talking about how he needed to get off Facebook. And we kept talking about it. And eventually he was just like, yeah, man, I was convicted, and I just got rid of Facebook. Got rid of it, and he hasn't talked about Facebook once. He hasn't talked about nonsense, useless stuff.
Yeah.
His like whole entire, surely he does other things to entertain him, but surely they're more healthy, and surely he does less of it. Because stuff like social media is just grabbing this podcast is going to turn into social media, is just taking your attention away at every moment. Every time you have downtime where you can maybe talk to somebody, you're like riding in a car and you're like, everybody's on Facebook, or you're at an outing and everybody's looking down at their phones with hunchback.
Yeah.
It's like we have lost connection, especially like as Christians, our calling is to connect with people.
You could be spending that time listening to this great podcast.
For real.
Or reading my book, Through a Glass Darkly.
Does this count as social media?
I mean, I think maybe podcasts they're a form of media. I don't know if social media is probably not the right word.
I think podcasts are a little exempt because they are a little distracting, but like I listen to podcasts.
It's with
while
the
I
purpose
work.
of like learning something or engaging in a dialogue.
Sure.
So I think that's probably true. So here's the thing. This is the other flip side of this. The whole correction angle is I was talking to my mom about this because I was like, really, I feel like I'm just like fueling gossip at this point. Like, because I don't know these guys really. I'm not like, and the pastor friends that I do have, we talk about our disagreements, but also.
Can we talk about the one we're talking about?
Which one specifically?
The weird sex one.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just put it out there because we're like dancing around it? Yeah.
So, are we saying the name? I don't know.
Don't say his name.
Okay. A pastor of a big mega church in the area. He talked about from the pulpit his intimacy
schedule
with his wife, which I thought was really tacky and not tasteful. So I've made a meme or two about it and made a couple jokes, but
super tacky and untasteful, like your
like my memes that I make. Yeah. But it's a deeper rooted issue than that, because it's not just that. It's like the teachings that and the format of the church is just, it seems to be very like,
it's like the new age, like project your sermon to other campuses.
Yeah, like text save to the chat if you said the sinner's prayer today.
Yeah, like Joel.
And it's like, I don't know if that's really, and now listen, there might be some instances where that is the only connection somebody has to the gospel, and maybe they catch a glimpse of the gospel in that, and it does change their life. But I think that broad stroke way of doing things, I think it...
Or you're just some old lady that's watching late night TV and just bought Joel Osteen a new Lamborghini Urus.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And so I don't... That's hard. That's a hard line, like, because the thing my mom said to me, she was like... I was like... Because I was like... You know, my buddy Jason, who is a pastor friend of mine, we don't agree on everything, but I don't go around correcting him because I don't think it's false teaching. We just don't necessarily agree on everything. But she's like, that is the distinction you need to make. She's like, if it feels like it's leading people astray, that's when you correct it.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with that. I don't know where that line is sometimes, I think
we could broadly say the mega church scheme is leading people into a lukewarm Christianity.
I would agree. Yes.
The scheme, I'm not saying like it's some evil contraption, but it's like when you buy a like reselling package on the internet.
Yeah.
It like gives you a program on which to attract the most people and to make the most money and how to like grab people's attention.
Yeah.
So what do we do with that? We have a big band, big warehouse building. We have trains and roller coasters in our church.
Yeah.
We have big events that are celebrating weird cultural things and doing things that are not of the church. It's like a community get together, like that Universalist Unitarian church. What do you even believe in if you're Universalist Unitarian? So in these mega churches, you don't really believe in anything specific. It's like this loose Christianity where you're like, you're trying to like, you're like on the fence. You're like sitting on the fence and you don't want to make a leap. So you're living your comfortable life while calling yourself a Christian. I think that's what that is.
Now I know some big churches that have that modern feel that actually preach scripture.
John MacArthur. Here we go.
I wasn't going to say John MacArthur. I was actually going to talk about the church that my sister goes to in Florida, Generations Church. Shout out to Pastor Johnny. I think like what he does.
Johnny Chang?
No, no. He preaches the word, and it's good preaching.
Yeah. Is that where Josiah Queen's from?
No, not that. No. But he's got they've got a big full band worship team, LED screens, all of that stuff. but the messages are still good.
Yeah.
And it's genuine, and it feels like a small, and it's a huge church. Like, my niece is on staff there as like a children's minister, like on staff. That's her full-time job.
Really?
Is the children's ministry thing. They had a VBS that had like 500 kids at it. Like, that's the kind of stuff, like, it's huge.
Yeah.
But they also are having a really huge impact on their community.
Yeah.
And he preaches scripture.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing themes. He's not buying packages. He's not, you know what I mean? Like, he's preaching
Buying sermons.
He's preaching the word.
Yeah.
And so that is, I think it has a place, but the problem is it's so easy to not do that in that format.
Mm-hmm.
And so
easy believism.
then we're doing, like at the movies and theming our sermons around movie topics, or Chat GPT. I asked it questions, and now I'm using, like, finding scriptures to support these points that it gave me, or all of these things that are just like, that's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Is it okay though to involve culture in the church? Because
I think so.
You read that spiritual discipline book, and he says in there, I think he was talking about prayer maybe, but he was saying that we should be holding the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other hand.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
We have to be aware of culture.
But we have to not be the culture.
But my argument against this is, I'm saying that sometimes we will, instead of Bible in one hand, newspaper in the other, we will plaster the newspaper all over the church and cover the Bible with it sometimes.
Yeah, we'll plaster the room with newspaper and put the Bible in the dresser.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. We have to be aware of culture. Like, I get it. Sometimes maybe I don't do as good a job of that as I should, and I don't bring up things that are hot in the news all the time. But also, there's things happening in the news that we don't bring up at all that are way more relevant. Like 850 Christians have been kidnapped by Islamists in Nigeria in the last month. And who's talking about that?
Yeah, we like to talk about what's trending.
Right.
Because it's attention grabbing.
Yeah. Look, I was devastated when Vodi Bakum died. I didn't preach about Vodi Bakum today.
Yeah.
Because that's not what he would have wanted.
Right.
He wants the gospel to be preached. That's at all costs. Right. So, like, there are things that we have to be aware of.
We should have prefaced with this, but I'm going to go postpartum with it. No cameras, so you can't see my facial expression, but I don't think that's the right word. But this, like, we talked about, like, Paul's role in what we're talking about. But Paul says he's the chief sinner. He's the chief sinner amongst sinners. What we're saying is, we're obviously, for anybody who's listened to our podcast, especially our whole podcast, we've changed our minds on things. We've been wrong about things. We've said things that we shouldn't have said. In our personal lives, we do things we shouldn't do. We say things we shouldn't do. But so did Paul.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong to correct. I struggle with this, like, a prayer of a righteous man avails. Like, I feel like sometimes I feel like to give advice or to pray for somebody, I have to be of righteous standing. Which, I guess, if I think about it like this, the prayer of a righteous man avails. We are made righteous by Christ.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, we're not claiming to, like, have the fullness of the truth. We have the fullness of the truth teller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what we believe to be truth, you may not believe to be truth, but talk to us about it.
Right.
Talk about it.
Right.
Don't sit in your, 60-acre farm with your F-150 Super Duty or whatever you got, Power Stroke, and, like, be feeding off the community.
Yeah.
Eating off the community. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's evil. It's a money grab. It's weird.
Yeah.
Talk to people about it. Be confronted by it. The same way I think you should look at that letter you got.
Yeah.
Be confronted. Like, if this guy is legit and not, like, being weird like that Facebook guy, it is weird that he didn't say his name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But maybe, like, look at these criticisms. Like, is there anything legit to this? Pray about it. I don't think there's anything legit to it. Let it go.
Yeah.
But if this guy that's preaching weird stuff and doing weird stuff and he's being too friendly with the world, I mean, that letter you got should have been written to this guy we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's doing that and we come to him like lovingly and be like, look, man, we think you're tripping a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this. Be willing to have that conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We talked. I have had a talk with a pastor that I don't agree with on a theological.
The Apostate Succession one.
Yeah. I've talked about something that I truly don't, that we don't see eye to eye on. Had a friendly conversation, we both spoke in love, agreed that we don't agree on it, and we don't harbor any hate for each other. I'm not going to partner with this person on ministry efforts because I can't support what they're doing. And they probably don't want me to either because I don't agree with what they're doing.
Because you're a racist, conservative pastor, neo-Nazi.
Yeah, that's fascist.
Baldy.
The bald was not my choice. I didn't do this because it's the
You're like
the look.
You're like Aryan Brotherhood. You're the Never mind.
Anyway, I've got my iron crosses tattooed on me. No, none of my tattoos are that stuff.
You have a thorn crown tattoo on your
No,
head.
look, man. Hey, the fascists hate me because I'm a beardo. Look at my beard. That was anyway. I can't be in the military anymore. I never could in the first place.
Flat-footed,
flat-footed, fat.
Somebody email us or text us. Like, there's no way you get disqualified from the military for being flat-footed. Warner's lying about this.
Flat-footed, fat, borderline diabetic, but the thing that disqualifies me is that I have a beard. Anyway, see, I can get political. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I know the right answer is probably not taking hysterical jabs on the internet though, and I probably need to chill. But I don't know. If I actually had a conversation with these guys, if I ever interacted with the other one was a situation where a pastor, we won't have time to get into this in detail, but a pastor basically is taking full control of the church that they're in, removing their leadership team completely and taking full control of the finances and the leadership entirely. And then also on top of that, preaching against anyone who won't give up control.
Yeah.
Not good. That being said, I don't know this person, so I can't confront them face to face from a personal level. And so maybe I need to stop talking about it. I don't know.
I think what you were saying about, like, making jokes about it and stuff like that, I think in a way it makes your criticism invalid because it seems like you're taking it
because I'm lighthearted. Yeah.
Because you're making jokes about it, but it's because you've said it multiple times. This guy doesn't know me. He doesn't care what I have to say.
Right.
He should.
Right, but even if I think if I actually met this person face to face, they would not know who I am and would not care what I have to say.
I bet the people that were getting letters from Paul were thinking the same thing. This guy doesn't know me. He doesn't care what I'm doing. And they got that letter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this guy's probably more the Paul in authority, maybe.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. No. He's more like the Judas. I'm just kidding.
But anyway,
Nicodemus, maybe.
Ultimately, what I need to be
Or
doing
Paul.
for these. Ultimately, what I need to be doing for these guys is praying for them.
Pray for him and talk to him, man.
Yeah, if I can. Yeah, if I can talk to them, that'd probably be the right
social media.
approach. Yeah,
It's a good use for social media.
Yeah,
bro.
there you go.
Send him your meme about 11 a.m. PSA. Maybe that should just be the picture of our podcast.
Anyway,
look, man, we love this guy. We hope that he loves the Lord.
Yeah.
We hope that his intention is to preach the truth and to really reach people with the truth. We hope that's his intention.
Yeah.
But we know what his intentions are on Fridays at 11 a.m.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
And you know what's
but that's
you know
not
what they
God's
say
truth.
about God's intention.
And God's
he
truth
won't have sex with you at 11 a.m.
God's truth won't back down, and neither should you. Stay focused, stay aggressive, and stay relentless for God's glory.